After World War II, Berlin's children looked to the sky expecting cargo planes. What they didn't expect was chocolate falling from the clouds. This is the incredible true story of the American pilot who became known as the Candy Bomber. Before we dive into the story, please do well to like and subscribe for more stories like this. When World War II ended in 1945, Germany lay in ruins. Entire neighborhoods had been reduced to rubble. Families struggled to find food, shelter, and fuel. For millions of children growing up among the wreckage, survival itself had become a daily challenge. The defeated nation was divided among the victorious Allies. Berlin, located deep inside Soviet-controlled territory, was split into separate occupation zones. As tensions between West and East increased, the city became one of the first major flashpoints of the Cold War. In June 1948, the Soviet Union attempted to force the Western Allies out of Berlin by blocking all roads, railways, and canals leading into the city. More than 2 million civilians suddenly found themselves isolated from the outside world. Rather than abandon the city, the United States and its allies launched an extraordinary operation. Thousands of flights would carry food, medicine, coal, and supplies into Berlin. It became known as the Berlin Airlift, one of the greatest humanitarian missions in history. Among the pilots flying these dangerous missions was First Lieutenant Gail Halvorsen. Raised during the Great Depression, he understood hardship and the value of small acts of generosity. He could not have known that one simple encounter would change his life forever. One day, after landing at Tempelhof Airport, Halvorsen noticed a group of German children standing behind a fence watching the airplanes. They did not beg for food, they did not ask for favors. Instead, they simply watched with quiet admiration and gratitude. Searching his pockets, Halvorsen found only 2 sticks of chewing gum. There were far more children than pieces. He broke the sticks into tiny portions and shared them. The children treasured even the wrappers, carefully smelling the scent that remained. The moment left a lasting impression on the young pilot. Back at the airfield, Halvorsen gathered candy bars and handkerchiefs. Carefully tying each treat to a tiny homemade parachute, he prepared a special delivery unlike anything Berlin had ever seen.
As his aircraft approached Berlin, Halvorsen gently rocked the wings. Then he released the tiny parachutes. Floating slowly toward the ground, they carried chocolate, gum, and something far more important, hope. News traveled quickly through Berlin. Children began gathering near the airport, scanning the skies for the aircraft that delivered candy from above. They gave the mysterious pilot a new name, the Candy Bomber. At first, the candy drops were entirely unofficial. Halvorsen paid for the treats himself. But when military leaders learned what he was doing, they embraced the idea. Soon, other pilots joined the effort, and Operation Little Vittles was born. The story captured hearts across the United States. School children donated candy. Families mailed sweets to air bases. Businesses contributed supplies. What had started as one pilot's act of kindness became a nationwide movement. Before long, thousands of candy-filled parachutes were floating down over Berlin. Children raced through fields and streets searching for the tiny treasures. For many, these drops became the brightest moments of an otherwise difficult childhood. The candy represented far more than chocolate. It symbolized compassion. It showed children who had grown up surrounded by destruction that people beyond their city cared about their future. It was proof that kindness could survive even after war. Meanwhile, the Berlin Airlift continued to succeed. Despite enormous challenges, Allied aircraft delivered millions of tons of supplies. In May 1949, the Soviet blockade was lifted. Berlin had endured, and the airlift had become one of history's greatest humanitarian achievements. Decades later, many of the children who received those tiny parachutes would meet Gail Halvorsen again. By then, they were adults with families of their own. Yet they never forgot the pilot who had brought them hope from the sky. His legacy remains a powerful reminder that even the smallest act of kindness can change countless lives. The planes of the Berlin Airlift carried food, fuel, and medicine. But one pilot carried something else. Through candy tied to handkerchief parachutes, Gail Halvorsen delivered hope to a generation of children recovering from war. And sometimes, hope is the most important cargo of all.